Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about finding your own adventure, and that kind of starts with a small story that prompted this. A couple weeks ago, I was riding my bike, and I got a flat tire, pretty much at the farthest point in my bike ride away from my house. Thankfully, I knew that my wife was home, and I could give her a call and have her pick me up, but it was a nice day out. It was a little warm, but it was a nice day out, and I was like, you know what? I can just walk home. And I think that kind of mindset is really valuable when it comes to just exploring new creative options or just like approaching new projects. Like, it doesn't have to be the easy way every time. And I think that taking the easy way every time, taking the well-trodden path is something that isn't necessarily going to hurt you in the long run, but it's going to impede your growth as an artist. And I feel that there's a lot of think pieces out there. I think there was a recent video by Veritasium that talked about this too, where it's like it's not necessarily the 10,000 hours of learning that's necessary. It's like focused and dedicated learning, like struggling and pushing yourself and being able to find those adventures and be excited to do them. And I think that that's really the important part, being excited to push yourself and grow, is very valuable, because it gives you that opportunity to continue to grow and to continue to expand outward in different directions. And because of that, you can maybe find new ground, find new trails that you can explore. When I started doing the 2-hour track challenge, primarily what I focused on was a challenge sheet by the Video Game Music Academy, who offered challenges that were like do something in a different key or in a different scale, or try making boss music for like a video game, or do something that involves only your voice. And all of these challenges were very difficult for me, and eventually I burnt out on them because I was doing exclusively challenges for the 2-hour track challenge. But in the short term, I feel like as a musician, I really grew because I had so many new experiences and so many new avenues to explore when it comes to writing music, because I was using techniques that were very unfamiliar for me. So I had to kind of figure it out as I go. And I guess that's kind of the whole point, where it's like, if you're not adventuring, if you're not like struggling a little bit and maybe finding a slightly harder path, you should look into that more. You're probably not as advancing as much as you necessarily need to be, or could be, I guess. You don't need to advance at all. It really depends on your own personal preference and what you want to do with your creative career. But yeah, I mean, that's really kind of the crux of it for me. I think that it's just so important to keep your mind open for those kinds of adventures. And like when I was walking home, it was a long walk. It was like 2 or 3 miles. It was quite a long walk. But part of that was a path through like kind of a lakey area, or kind of more of a swamp really. But, I got to see a turtle. That's cool. And it was just nice to slow down a little bit. Like I usually blast through that area on the trail on my bike going like, 10 or 15 miles an hour. But when you're slow down and you take your time to go through it, there's a lot of interesting things that happen in that area that you kind of miss. And I think that that's another really like important thing to keep in mind when it comes to finding your own adventure is that you usually take it a little bit slower and a little bit more deliberate, because you are in unfamiliar territory and you're not just trying to blast through it as fast as possible. And when you are paying more attention like that, you can come across things that you hadn't experienced before. And I know this like analogy between walking and music production or being creative is getting stretched a little bit, but I hope that you understand what I mean, where it's just like the more you have to focus on the task at hand and you're not just on autopilot, the more you'll learn through that process. And I think that it's just valuable to be aware of that stuff. And the easiest way to be aware is to be uncomfortable while doing it. So that is, I think, pretty much everything I had to say for today. I hope that you have a wonderful Friday and a fantastic weekend. And thank you so much for listening. I really do appreciate it. I'm doing this all out of order. So it's been a few weeks since I recorded one of these, just due to many issues around the house, either not having power or not having air conditioning. So I'm glad that I had a bit of a backlog, but it is Thursday at like 2 p.m. So I need to record this. So anyway, sorry. Hi. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really genuinely do appreciate it. I hope that you have a fantastic Friday and a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.